Magnus the Red watched his home die in fire and ash, knowing it was his own hand that had doomed it. Prospero, his jewel, his city of knowledge and light, was torn apart by bombardment from the skies. Towers of crystal shattered, streets once filled with scholars drowned in screams and blood. Scrolls and tomes, treasures of countless lifetimes, crumbled into cinders before they ever touched the ground. Among the ruins stood Magnus himself, crimson-skinned, towering, one cyclopean eye burning gold through tears of blood. His colossal frame shook not from fear, but from grief and rage. Around him, his sons fell, butchered by the wolves. Above him, the Emperor's judgment weighed heavier than any blade. Magnus understood then the cruelest irony of his fate. He had sought to save the Imperium, and in saving it, he had destroyed it. Magnus had never been like his brothers. From the moment of his creation, the warp clung to him like a second skin. His crimson flesh, his towering frame, and his single cyclopean eye marked him as different, even monstrous. Yet within that eye burned not madness, but brilliance. Where others feared the immaterium, Magnus read it as though it were a book. The warp spoke to him in whispers, and he answered with command. When he was cast adrift through the tides of chaos and delivered to Prospero, its people did not recoil. They hailed him, the Crimson Lord, the Scholar King. Under his hand, Prospero flowered into a paradise of learning. Tisca became a jewel of enlightenment, its towers rising like prisms, its scholars unearthing truths long buried. Here, knowledge was revered. Here, Magnus's dream lived. All mysteries can be mastered, he once told his people, and with mastery comes salvation. When the Emperor came, father and son saw reflections in each other. The Master of Mankind welcomed Magnus and placed the Thousand Suns Legion in his care. They too were touched by the warp, and they too carried the same curse, the flesh change. At first it was subtle, an eye clouded, a hand trembling, but soon flesh twisted into nightmare, warriors collapsing into shrieking abominations. The Legion trembled on the brink of annihilation. Magnus could not accept it. He would not. I will not lose them, he swore. I will find the answer, whatever the cost. And so he turned to the warp, spell by spell, bargain by bargain. Each forbidden rite bought his sons another day. He saved them for a time, but the debt grew heavier. And far away, Tzeentch, the changer of ways, smiled. Then came the shadow, Horus Lupercal, the beloved war master, the favored son. To the Imperium he was glory. To Magnus, who gazed into the warp, he was corruption incarnate. Magnus saw what the others couldn't. Horus's soul, poisoned and enthralled by the ruinous powers. And he knew that if nothing was done, the Imperium would drown in betrayal. He had rehearsed the words 1,000 times. He had not rehearsed the cost. Magnus drew the full strength of his Legion's sorcery and hurled his spirit across the immaterium. His essence blazed brighter than suns, tearing through sanctums no mortal could breach. The psychic wards of Terra cracked like glass beneath his will. Within the Emperor's mind, Magnus spoke. Father, hear me. Horus has betrayed you. He has fallen. The warning landed. The Webway did not. For beneath the palace, the Emperor had wrought a secret wonder. A passage into the Webway itself, a path to free humanity from the warp's chains forever. Magnus's intrusion shattered it. Demons poured through the breach. The Emperor's grand design collapsed. And in that instant, trust was broken beyond repair. The Emperor, wounded in pride and fury, commanded punishment. He unleashed the wolves. Leman Russ, savage lord of Fenris, was sent first to summon Magnus in chains. But the order twisted in the dark, whether by Horus's treachery or the Emperor's silent wrath. None can say. The wolves came not as wardens, they came as executioners. Prospero had libraries for every disaster but this. The sky split with fire as the space wolves descended. Orbital bombardments shattered Tizca's radiant spires. Scholars died with books still in their hands. The Thousand Suns, caught unprepared, unleashed their sorcery in desperation. Warp fire met bolter flame. Reality itself screamed. Knowledge that had taken centuries to gather vanished in hours. The jewel of enlightenment was reduced to ash. In the midst of ruin, brother met brother. Magnus, the Crimson King, Russ, the Wolf King, they clashed like demigods. Magnus wielded storms, fire and ruin. Russ answered with the fury of Fenris, every blow a thunderclap, every strike a death sentence. "Brother, listen!" Magnus cried, even as warp fire lit the sky. "I did this for father, for all of us." But Russ answered only with his blade. The duel shook the earth. Yet Magnus's strength faltered, his spirit scarred, his body weakened. With a roar, Russ shattered his bones, broke his back, and hurled him to the dust. A Primarch can survive a broken spine. Few survive a broken story. Magnus lay defeated, his city aflame, his legion slaughtered, his father's judgment upon him. And in that abyss of despair, the whispers returned. Tzeentch, the architect of fate, the one who had watched from the beginning. The bargain came as softly as breath. You sought knowledge. I gave it. You sought to save your sons. I preserved them. And now, I will preserve you. Magnus resisted. For a heartbeat, he resisted. But the debt was too heavy, the despair too deep. I have no choice, he whispered. And the warp replied, You never did. Salvation arrives disguised as agreement, and so the pact was sealed. Magnus rose again, no longer son of the Emperor, but prince of demons. The Crimson King enthroned upon ash. What, then, is his legacy? Some call him traitor, others victim. Both are true. He was the scholar king who sought to save his people and damned them instead. The loyal son who tried to warn his father but shattered his greatest work. The savior who became the destroyer. In the ashes of Prospero, one truth whispers still. Magnus the Red did nothing wrong, except believe that knowledge could outvote fate, and fate, patient and smiling, counted the votes.